All right. We're diving deep today, folks, into the ketogenic diet.
Oh, yeah?
And wow, you guys send in some really interesting articles
Yeah.
from some really great health and nutrition websites.
Hmm.
So we're talking high fat, low carb, and a whole lot of potential benefits,
Yeah.
but of course some challenges too.
It really does seem like everyone's talking about keto these days, but
Oh yeah.
it can be tough to sort through the hype,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And that's where we come in, right?
Exactly.
We're going to break down those core concepts, explore the science behind it,
Yeah, yeah.
and give you the tools to decide if keto might be right for you.
Absolutely. So first things first, what exactly is the ketogenic diet?
Okay, so
I mean, it's all about really cutting back on those carbs
Right,
and,
yeah.
and replacing those calories with fat.
right.
So we're talking things like avocados, nuts, cheese, even butter.
Yes,
The goal is to shift your body into this state called ketosis.
exactly. So in ketosis, your body stops relying on glucose. The glucose that comes from carbohydrates for fuel,
Right.
and instead starts burning fat for energy.
Wow.
It's a pretty dramatic metabolic shift,
Mhm.
and that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
This shift can have some pretty profound effects on your body,
Yeah.
both positive and potentially negative.
Okay, so let's start with the good news first. One of the articles we're looking at really dives into the potential benefits.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive. Some research even suggests that it may help with weight loss,
Mm-hmm.
improve blood sugar control, for type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
and even potentially benefit cognitive function
Wow.
for people with Alzheimer's disease.
There's definitely a lot of promising research out there.
Yeah.
But, it's really important to remember that a lot of these studies are still in those early stages.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, while a lot of people, they experience rapid weight loss on keto initially,
Right.
a lot of times that's due to water loss, not necessarily fat loss.
Oh, that makes sense. So you're like depleting your body's glycogen stores,
Exactly.
which are bound to water.
Right.
So as you cut those carbs, you lose that stored water weight.
Yeah, like when you cut carbs, your body starts using up its glycogen stores,
Okay.
which is how your body stores glucose, right?
Right.
And glycogen, it binds to water. So as your glycogen levels decrease,
Mhm.
you lose that water weight.
Mm-hmm.
And while longer-term weight loss is definitely possible on keto,
Yeah.
studies suggest that after a year, the difference in weight loss between keto
Yeah.
and more balanced traditional diets,
Yeah.
it kind of tends to even out.
So it's not like a guaranteed fast track
Right.
to a slimmer waistline.
Not necessarily. And you also
Okay.
have to think about how sustainable it is.
Yeah.
Keto is pretty restrictive,
Yeah.
and sticking to it long term can be a real challenge for a lot of people.
For sure. Okay, let's talk about the not so fun part. The infamous keto flu. One article really just described it perfectly. Headaches,
Oh, yeah.
fatigue, muscle cramps, even brain fog. It's like your body's staging a revolt against this sudden shift.
You're basically taking away its primary source of fuel.
Right.
So it takes time to kind of adapt.
Adapt to burning fat for energy.
Exactly.
So what can you do to minimize those unpleasant side effects?
One of the articles, it offered a pretty simple but effective strategy.
Okay.
Stay hydrated.
Yep.
Make sure you're getting enough electrolytes.
Oh, okay.
Because when you cut those carbs, you also lose electrolytes like sodium, potassium, magnesium,
Right.
which can contribute to those flu-like symptoms.
That's a really great tip. Makes you realize how interconnected everything is in our bodies.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. All right, enough with the doom and gloom. Let's get to the good stuff. The food. Imagine a world where you can indulge in creamy avocados,
Oh, yeah.
juicy steaks,
Mm-hmm.
even bacon.
Sounds pretty good, right? But there's a little bit of catch.
Okay.
While keto might sound like a carnivore's dream come true,
Right.
it's not quite that simple. You got to be mindful of your macros.
Yeah.
That is the percentage of calories you're getting from fat, protein, and carbs.
Right, right. And one of the articles breaks down that standard keto macro ratio. 70 to 80% fat,
Wow.
10 to 20% protein,
Okay.
and a measly 5 to 10% carbs.
That's a pretty drastic shift for most people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It requires a major overhaul of your eating habits.
Absolutely.
And before you even think about stocking your fridge with all that bacon and cheese,
Yeah.
it's really crucial to understand what you can and cannot eat on keto.
So let's play a game. Keto or no keto?
Okay, I like it.
First up, Leafy greens, like spinach and kale.
Oh, those are definite keto. They're low in carbs and packed with nutrients. Non-starchy vegetables are like your best friend on keto.
Okay, good. Next, berries. Healthy, right?
They are healthy, yeah, but they're also higher in carbs
Okay.
than other fruits. So on keto, you'd want to enjoy those in moderation,
Okay.
maybe as an occasional treat, not a daily staple.
Got it. Okay, last one. Pasta. Surely a no-go on keto.
Got it. Pasta is very carb heavy.
Yeah.
Big no keto. In fact, most grains are off limits. Bread, rice, cereal.
Wow. It's amazing how much you learn just by looking at food through this keto lens. Makes you really appreciate the variety,
For sure.
but also like the limitations
Yeah.
of this way of eating.
Absolutely. And that's just, the
Yeah.
tip of the iceberg. We haven't even talked about meal planning, navigating restaurant menus,
Mhm.
or those potential nutrient deficiencies.
Right, and that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. We'll explore all those practical aspects of living the keto life,
Yes,
including a peek at a sample 7-day menu that might just surprise you.
definitely.
Stay tuned.
So welcome back. Before we jumped into like the specifics of what you can and can't eat on keto,
Yeah.
we were discussing that potential for nutrient deficiencies.
Right.
It's a pretty common concern, when you're cutting out entire food groups.
Oh, for sure. And if you're not careful, keto could really leave you short on some essential vitamins and minerals. One of the articles highlights fiber.
Yeah,
This is a big one.
definitely.
You're cutting out a lot of those fiber-rich foods, like
Yeah.
fruits, legumes, whole grains.
Right. And fiber is so essential for,
Yeah.
digestive health, blood sugar control,
Mm,
even feeling full and satisfied after meals.
yeah, absolutely.
But there is a little bit of good news.
Okay.
Some keto-friendly foods can really help you up your fiber intake.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Things like chia seeds, flax seeds, and of course,
Yeah.
those avocados.
Right. Those trusty avocados. So it's all about like
Yeah.
making the strategic choices
Exactly.
and maybe getting a little creative in the kitchen. Speaking of creativity, let's dive into meal planning. I have to admit, when I first heard about keto, I just pictured endless plates of bacon and eggs. But these articles, they paint like a much more diverse picture.
One of the articles even includes a sample 7-day keto meal plan, and it's surprisingly delicious.
Really?
Yeah, I think pork chops with cauliflower mash,
Okay.
roasted chicken with asparagus, sautéed mushrooms, even a bunless burger topped with avocado.
That sounds way more appealing than I expected.
Right?
And it just goes to show that you can still enjoy those flavorful, satisfying meals
Yeah,
while sticking to those keto guidelines.
for sure. It's all about,
Yeah,
finding those keto-friendly swaps
right,
for your favorite carb-heavy dishes. So cauliflower rice instead of regular rice,
right,
zucchini noodles instead of pasta,
right.
almond flour crusts for pizza.
Yeah.
The possibilities are pretty much endless.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay, let's say you've mastered the keto meal prep at home, but what about those nights when you're craving takeout? Or you're meeting friends for dinner?
Mhm.
Can you even eat out on keto without like feeling like a total outcast?
It definitely it presents a challenge,
Yeah.
but it's not impossible. One article suggested a pretty simple strategy.
Oh.
Before you even, set foot in a restaurant, do a little research.
Oh, okay.
Check out the menu online, see if they have any keto-friendly options.
That's a great tip. You don't want to be caught off guard staring blankly at the menu full of pasta.
Yeah, definitely.
And those bread baskets.
Exactly. And if you're not sure,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to ask your server for some modifications.
Oh, right.
Most restaurants these days are pretty happy to accommodate.
Yeah, they are. So for example, you could ask for a bunless burger, a salad with extra protein, non-starchy veggies, or grilled fish with a side of steamed vegetables instead of the rice or potatoes.
Exactly. And remember, the golden rule of dining out on keto. Be mindful of those hidden carbs.
Oh, right.
Sauces, dressings, marinades can be loaded with sugar, starches.
It's easy to overlook those sneaky carbs.
Definitely. Another tip from one of the articles was to really focus on that protein and those healthy fats. Don't be afraid to ask for extra olive oil or avocado on your salad.
So even though, eating out on keto requires a little bit more planning awareness, it's definitely doable.
For sure.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire your friends to try some healthier options too.
Exactly. It's all about finding a balance that works for you, your lifestyle.
For sure. Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The idea that keto might not be like a long-term solution for everyone.
That's right. One article highlighted the importance of viewing keto as uh, more like a tool,
Okay.
not necessarily like a permanent lifestyle change.
Oh, okay.
It can be really effective, for kickstarting weight loss,
Yeah.
improving blood sugar control,
Right.
addressing like specific health concerns. But sticking to such a restrictive diet indefinitely,
Yeah.
that can be tough,
Yeah.
physically and socially. And there's always that risk of rebound weight gain
Oh, yeah.
if you go back to your old habits after, ending keto.
So what's the takeaway here?
I think the key is to approach keto uh, with like a clear understanding of your goals and a realistic assessment of your ability to maintain it
Sure.
long term.
And if you do decide to give keto a try, remember that it's not just about,
Right.
following a set of rules. It's about listening to your body,
Yeah,
making informed choices, and just finding what works best for you.
absolutely.
We'll be right back after a short break to wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts on incorporating what you've learned into your everyday life. Stay with us.
Welcome back. We've explored the ins and outs of the ketogenic diet, from, the science behind it to
Yeah.
the practicalities of meal planning and dining out.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, but the real journey begins now, taking all this knowledge and applying it to your own life and health goals.
It's time to move from theory to practice. So let's wrap up this deep dive with some, key takeaways
Yeah.
and thought-provoking questions to consider. First, remember that keto is um, a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly effective for some people, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
And it's definitely not a quick fix.
Right.
It requires commitment planning
Yeah.
and a willingness to adjust your eating habits significantly.
One thing that really stood out to me from these articles was that emphasis on personalization.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What works for one person
Yeah,
might not work for another.
absolutely. It's not just about, blindly following a set of rules. It's about listening to your body, experimenting, and just finding what feels best for you.
Exactly.
Mm.
And that might mean tweaking those standard keto macros,
Yeah.
incorporating, more or fewer carbs, or even cycling in and out of ketosis.
It's all about finding what's sustainable for
Yeah.
you long term.
Exactly. Because ultimately, the best diet is the one you can stick with.
That's so true. And that brings us to another crucial point. Keto isn't just about what you eat. It's about how you live.
Yeah.
It can impact, your social life, your relationships with food, even your mental well-being.
For sure. So before you, dive headfirst into the world of keto,
Yeah.
take some time to reflect on your goals, your lifestyle, and your values.
Ask yourself, what am I hoping to achieve with this dietary change? Is keto the right tool for me? And perhaps most importantly, does this way of eating align with my overall vision of health and well-being?
There's no right or wrong answer here.
Yeah.
It's a personal journey, and the best guide is really your own inner wisdom.
We've given you the information, the insights, the tools to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn to explore, experiment, and discover what works best for you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the ketogenic diet. We really hope you gained valuable knowledge and just a fresh perspective on this fascinating approach to nutrition.
And remember, the world of health and wellness, it's vast and ever evolving.
Absolutely.
There's always something new to learn, another deep dive to take.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.